Wait, there's another Washington Monument? Like alternate universe Washington? What? Hey guys, and welcome to GTLive, where today we are returning to the mysteries of the Monument Mythos. So this is basically an analog horror series based on various, like, American and who knows, maybe international monuments. We haven't gotten to international yet. Maybe that's season 2. Oh, I hope. Because there's a lot of fun international monuments you can do stuff to. But basically, we're trying to uncover what the mysteries are of these various landmarks. It seems like the government or some person is trying to kind of like appease them, keep them at bay, keep them from transforming into monsters, what have you. So we got, I think, four episodes in, kind of 4 videos in our live reactions. Today we're continuing onward with DEANDEMOCRACY. So this was one that we actually skipped last time. So we had caught up with the Statue of Liberty, something lives under there. They're being fed immigrants. Mount Rushmore, they're putting baby powder on the top and it's spouting like a mohawk. Alcatraz is a literal cell that's dividing. Air Force One is feeding them or keeping them at bay. And now here's DEANDEMOCRACY, which is going to do, I don't know what. Here we go. Let's check it out. Live theory crafting, ladies and gentlemen. This is brought to you by you guys. You guys are the ones who sent us to check these out. A look back at America's 37th president. Don't remember D.
During a program of ABC Evening News, anchor Peter Jennings told viewers to look forward to next week for a special broadcast of national significance.
Okay.
Jennings would continue to remind viewers of the special broadcast over the next 7 nights, even referring to it at one point as the most unprecedented announcement in recent history.
Cool. All right. Yes.
A week after its first mention, Jennings reminded viewers of the special broadcast one last time, asking them to pay attention later that night for an exclusive look at the greatest gift to the American people.
You gotta make sure people know when your stuff is happening.
Built over the week, over 60 million Americans tuned into ABC, waiting for the evening news to end and for the special broadcast to begin.
I mean, that's bigger than the conclusion of Unis Honest right there. That is bigger than St. Jude live stream. 60 million. I mean, the early days of YouTube, or not YouTube, the early days of television, and like even before the internet really came into being, but like you used to get those numbers on shows, right? And I'm sure that they were kind of like inflated or like miscalculated to some extent, but you had these like big series finales for shows like MASH or Seinfeld or like even, I mean, the Super Bowl obviously is one of those where just everyone with a television would tune in because that was the thing that you had to watch. That was the big cultural touchstone. You had like
the Beatles on Ed Sullivan.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, stuff like that. I mean, you had Elvis, you know, like you think about Elvis on and his tours and stuff. Like they were such cultural touchstones and such cultural moments that because everyone was there, because that was really of the like 3 things that you had to watch, because there were like 3 or 4 channels. Like that was it. And it's interesting how nowadays everything's become so fragmented and so like in its own individual pockets. On one hand, that's really interesting because everyone has their own tastes and likes and dislikes and they're able to really pursue those. But on the other hand, you do lose a lot of that like cultural unity or those moments that really held people together where you could like walk into a room with a stranger like the night after the Super Bowl or whatever and be like, oh yeah, what you think of the game or like what you think of that commercial, because it was assumed that pretty much everyone watched it, right? Like you could talk to people for weeks and months about like, I remember because I was old enough to remember the ending of Seinfeld, right? And that was such a big show. That was such a cultural movement. And everyone was talking about whether they liked it. Was it good? Was it bad? Do you think that they're teeing up a sequel or whatever? And, you know, those conversations happened for months because everyone watched it. And so nowadays, like, sure, you have these massive events like, you know, Mr. Beast's Squid Game is a good one, or like Unis Honest or whatever. What, Squid Game, but also like here on YouTube, right? Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that like, yeah, that had 250 million views or whatever. But there are times where I have met our fans and they don't know who Mr. Beast is. You know, and he's, you know, 100 million subscriber channel, gets like, you know, 40 plus million views on like the low performing videos of his. And to think that here on YouTube, there are still people, you know, in this world and people who watch this channel, right? Where, you we cover some of that stuff. I've appeared in Mr. Beast videos, things like that, who don't know. And I think that's really interesting, that those cultural touchstones just don't exist anymore. Good, bad, it's just interesting. I'm not really passing judgment on it one way or the other. I think it is harder, though, to, sometimes it's harder to find a conversation with people because those things don't exist anymore. You can't assume that everyone's watched, like, season 4 of Stranger Things. You can assume, like, and even Marvel at this point, like, for a while, Marvel was that.
Yeah.
Where Marvel was like, oh, Endgame, oh, Infinity War, what's going to happen? Oh, that was awesome. But even now that it's kind of past the Endgame phase and people are getting burned out of it, and there's so much oversaturation, like, you can't assume that anymore. So it's really interesting how there has been this dissipation. Apologies for the cut. I had to rearrange my microphone because my jacket was hugging me a little bit too closely today. I packed it weird. Anyway, all right. So anyway, I'm done randomly, pontificating about cultural touchstone moments. Do you miss them? Do you not? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious. Again, I'm asking you to comment a lot. I'm sorry. I want to read a bunch of comments. I have a flight coming up. I'll download the video and read all your comments on the flight. So let me know. I'd be curious. Do you remember any cultural touchstone moments? What's the closest thing that you can get to? I'm curious for your thoughts. All right, let's keep going.
There were countless theories as to what would occur.
Theories.
From the announcement of alien life to the declaration of an all-out nuclear war. Speculation was brewing.
Here's the thing. If they were declaring all-out nuclear war or alien life, you think that there would be a little bit more urgency to it than, hey, in 7 days, we're going to talk about this thing, right? We'll get around. We discovered alien life. We'll get around to telling you, hey, we're going to declare war on this guy. Yeah, no rush. It's fine. Tune in 7 days.
Intensely. Once the evening news program ended, a black screen with a 10-second countdown commenced with the title DEANDEMOCRACY. Some viewers, so terrified of the threat of nuclear war, reportedly experienced nervous breakdowns and ran down the street, declaring that DEANDEMOCRACY was the code name for an all-out nuclear holocaust. Yet once the countdown ended, all fears were soon replaced with tears of joy and an excitement not seen since the end of World War II.
Yeah, just simmer down, guys. It's okay. Let's get going. They got a montage.
What are we waiting for? Let's bring them back home.
Dean for president.
In the seconds following James Dean's
James Dean!
Hundreds of thousands of neighborhoods erupted into celebration. Although other candidates had promised to end the Vietnam War, none had so accurately expressed the same anger that they had felt, which Dean had perfectly conveyed in a 15-second broadcast.
Are you kidding me? Oh, man.
There's a lot to unpack here.
There's a lot.
People were screaming DEANDEMOCRACY, fear that it was nuclear war, during a 10-second countdown.
People got anxiety, man.
They burst out the door in 2 seconds and did that
right?
in such large numbers and so notably.
Right.
That's
a big one, right? People be crazy.
They're fast.
People be crazy.
When you don't have a bunch of microplastics in your food, there's a lot you can do.
Right, this is the good old days.
Yeah, when there was mercury.
When you were just smoking all the time.
Yeah.
When you weren't consuming microplastics and weighed down by the microplastics. Instead, you were weighed down by the lung cancer. It's a way of life. No, jeez. Oh, man, no, James Dean for president, huh? All right, sure. DEANDEMOCRACY, woo!
Popular demand. The ABC Evening News was canceled the next day.
Wow!
Replaced by a 30-minute loop of James Dean's presidential announcement. The broadcast was
30-minute loop of a 15-second video!
By over 38 million Americans, and the party's...
That's actually a terrible retention rate. A 15-second video and then got rewatched only by half the people who tuned in. They're like, that was boring. Let's move on to, Nightline. I think there's a rerun of Cheers.
Due to repeated assassination attempts on Robert Kennedy, the Democratic Party presidential debates were canceled for the 1968 election season. However, this proved to be no issue for Dean, as polls indicated that he was in the lead for the entirety of 1967 and 1968.
I mean James Dean versus Nixon. The guy that everyone's hot for versus Richard Nixon. Sure.
despite having had fewer public appearances and rallies than any other candidate. The strength of his campaign relied on the powerful advertisements he directed that would air every Friday evening on ABC.
Man, him and ABC are like
the
this.
series of programs would be considered by many as another weekly TV series, and went on to become the highest-rated TV show on television after the conclusion of Star Trek in 1967.
Wow. I mean, here's the thing. Like, this is obviously alternate universe stuff and goofy, but it's art imitating reality. Like, reality shows that when you are a celebrity and have a platform that people know you on, they know that person a lot better than they know a lot better. They think they know that person a lot better than they know, random politician X. I could tell you that. And again, like, there was our local representative for Ohio was like Sherrod Brown. And he was our representative for know nothing about the guy. I just know his name and that people kept voting for him because they generally liked him or he was there or had experience. I don't know. But when I was growing up, I heard his name all the time. Did anyone know anything about it? No, probably not. But it's one of those things where, like, if you have name recognition, that already puts you above other people. That's why I've said for a long, long time that a YouTuber, like, it's only a matter of time before YouTubers cross over into politics, because actually there was a guy who ran for, what was his channel? It was good. The Golgi Body from last time. Did they move this? They might have moved it because of the Queen's death, unfortunately. I gotta check that out. What was I looking up? I ran for London mayor. Yes. Yeah, how I won the London mayor election. Yeah, Nico. I've watched some of his stuff. I've only like the 2, 3, or like 2, 3, 4 of his videos. Not too many, but I really enjoyed the ones that I've seen. This was really interesting. He started it as like again, a parody campaign, but he ended up coming in like 5th place or something like that. I forget exactly what the end result was. He didn't win, so this is definitely clickbait. But he won because he didn't expect to get as far as he did or make as big of an impact as he did and beat some of these other guys that he did. But again, like, there it is. It's only a matter of time because, right? You don't have to compete on daytime television. You don't have to pay for the ad placements or whatever. You're here. You have this platform. You're like, hey, I'm running. Go vote. The biggest thing is getting your audience to vote. But if they do, you make some serious dents in there. So give it time. It's going to happen. It's not a theory. That's a fact.
Although a presidential debate was eventually scheduled 2 weeks before the election, James Dean instead invited opponent Richard Nixon to a track to race cars on the same night. Although reluctant
to attract a race car. We could debate. Hey Nixon.
Whoa.
Hey Dick. Hey Dick. We could debate, but we race some cars instead. Oh, okay, yes, let's do that. Race the cars. Let's race a car. That's great. Thanks, Nixon.
Wow.
What?
Just, I can't speak. I can't speak.
My Nixon's pretty good, right?
I was not expecting that.
First, Nixon eventually agreed and went to spend the entire day with Dean,
That was a bad
reportedly
idea.
even telling the actor, "To hell with it, I'm voting for you. You're already a better president than I'll ever be." This statement, although only a rumor, would spread like wildfire in tabloids and permanently curbed Nixon's chance for victory.
I mean, if you do say that, that's not going to help your chances all that much.
On the morning of November 1st, 1968, 4 days before Election Day, anti-Dean groups hijacked radio channels and told civilians they were fed up with James Dean and that television was ruining American youth. After the broadcast, the groups went on to cut hundreds of power lines in the southeast, effectively preventing any of Dean's presidential ads from reaching any household below Tennessee. Dean quickly heard of the incident and, despite the risk of an assassination, flew down to the south and quickly went to work with local electricians to repair the broken power lines.
Just him shirtless, fixing the power lines.
James Dean would be met with a supportive crowd, primarily younger voters who were eager to see a younger face back in the White House.
Yeah.
Elderly white conservatives, often the parents of the younger supporters, remained in their houses and occasionally peered through their window blinds to catch a glimpse of the handsome candidate.
That's funny.
Although it wasn't
he
known to
would
Dean at
crush.
the time, hate groups in the South had perpetuated the idea that he was Satan in disguise.
Wow.
And cited his good looks and his love for jazz as being clear signs of the devil.
See, you can tell because he's got these horns these horns right here that we have very obviously. What is this? Is this his devil claw? Devil. See, this I can understand. Oh, he's devil in the. What part of the devil is this?
He's hiding his little scepter in his leather jacket.
His trident?
Yeah.
His scepter. This is my scepter right here. He's only got 3 fingers, guys. He's Satan. Also, he only has 3 fingers. Watch out. Rebel with a cause. Rebel with sins. It's the sequel, the little-known sequel to Rebel with a Cause. Oh, man. I love it. I don't know. Dean is Satan. Dean is Satan. Dean is Satan. Dean's Satan.
They ran out of room.
They ran out of space. And also the way that this is written, Dean possesses Satan. All right, that's Dean Satan. Oh, that's so funny. This is great. You gotta love the ad. Oh, James Dean's America. Oh man, he's ruined the place.
James Dean is no man.
Produced by the Believe us, this is a fair, impartial ad. You can trust us. Anti-Dean, yes. No, it's fine.
I love that. I love that.
I love it. It's like our animation style in our videos. Yes, Anti-Dean. Well, you got me convinced. You won my vote with that one.
Elderly white conservatives in the Southeast would be the only demographic unfazed by his campaign. Yet Dean continued to travel from state to state, repairing power lines for 4 days
I feel like
straight
that's horrifically
until the very
dangerous
morning of the
to span
election.
all those power lines. I don't know. I don't know much about the logistics of power lines. I'm very concerned about someone straddling that many power lines with their body.
On November 5th, 1968, James Dean received 75% of the popular vote with 395 electoral votes.
Okay.
Nixon congratulated.
So this is an alternate universe where James Dean wins, but also the Electoral College still exists.
In a phone call the following morning, but Dean refused to acknowledge the win and instead asked to race cars again at the track.
Oh, there's that Nixon again. What a great guy.
On January 20th, 1969, James Dean held his inaugural address at the official Capitol Raceway. Although presidents in the past had speeches that were typically around 20 minutes, Dean spoke for less than a minute.
Oh, please let us hear it.
I have a speech, and it has the flotsam that you people expect to hear. But that's not fair. No, that's not fair at all. I'm here for all of you.
What is this?
It's only fair that you speak for yourselves. My words shouldn't be louder than yours.
That's a good line. That's a good line.
So I brought many other guests to speak. They're just people like you and
I can see this working, actually.
In the same time that many other presidents have spoken by themselves, America will speak. Thank you.
Also, I got to throw this out. If you haven't seen our film theory, this is funny and never intentional. But on film theory, I did 2 episodes about how Disney is basically like harvesting or dead actors to play in movies. And one of the big ones that is kind of a point of contention right now. It isn't a Disney project, but is James Dean. They're making a movie. I think it's coming out next year or 2025. I forget the exact date. But where James Dean, a actor who died prematurely, he had this kind of tragically early death, is being basically deep-faked / reanimated with his voice being replicated and all this stuff to star in a movie that's happening in a brand new movie that's happening in 2024, 2025. It's weird, it's wild, it's creepy. It falls into weird gray legal territory, which is what those episodes are all about, is the logistics of how and why this matters. They're really fun episodes, maybe not as like super catchy as like Backrooms or whatever, but if you haven't checked them out, they're really worth watching. Anyway, hearing James Dean speak, I don't know if these are lines that he said or if this is a speech bot or whatever, but it just made me think of like, oh yeah, you could get just like dead actors to talk, you know, that there are deep fake voices out there where you could get, you know, a voice to say these lines in his words, kind of, which is wild to think about, that we exist in that world. So anyway, here we go. Well, you won my vote. It's a good angle,
Dean
letting the people
proceeded
talk.
to
It's
introduce
smart.
many groups to the microphone, including civil rights activists and
Smart.
Native American
This is a great
families.
idea.
Martin Luther King Jr. would also come forward to speak in his first appearance since an attempt on his life 9 months prior. President Dean would conclude the inauguration with a brief bongo performance, and when
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love it. This is the ultimate history I want to be a part of. Who cares? Who cares about the Statue of Liberty and the monster lives underneath? Whatever. The baby powder on top of Mount Rushmore. I want to see the bongo performance by James Dean during his presidential inauguration. It's like Clinton when he did the saxophone. He went on late night television and played saxophone and got like all these cool points for it.
on
This
to
is like
raise Richard
legitimately
Nixon
cool.
at the track.
Oh,
In subsequent presidential inaugurations, those who disagreed with the elected president would instead celebrate Dean Democracy Day and protested by watching Dean's unique take on the address in place of the actual
it's a good take on the address, actually. I think that's a great idea. And the idea of like
in a televised address,
emphasizing America speaking and like the people of America, I think that's brilliant. I've thought stuff like that actually in the past, where it's like, oh yeah, why bring up like this is democracy? Let's all talk. Anyway,
President Dean planned to inform Americans of his first 90 days in office. However, 6 seconds into the broadcast, the audio cut out and remained absent for the remainder of the speech. Although anti-Dean groups claimed responsibility and took pride in the sabotage, many civilians claimed that it benefited the president. The silent broadcast highlighted President Dean's sincere facial expressions and lively disposition.
Hold up.
Silent
We've got
broadcast
stuff.
highlighted President Dean's sincere facial.
Is there anything interesting in the glitches here? Probably not. Ghosts! No, it's just film tape. Looks like it's just tape effects. Yeah, it's fine.
Disposition, as opposed to the stern and stiff personalities of prior administrations. Viewers were proud to see a man in his prime at the most important position in the country. Ironically, President Dean's popularity grew after the technical difficulty, and
Smart.
film director Stanley Kubrick went on to call the broadcast the greatest silent film ever made.
Of course you did, Stan. Huh. So it's just alternate history, adding to like the lore of this series. I guess there is no like twist. I mean, the twist is that James Dean back there? I guess so. Yeah. So James Dean, voiced by Lev. Cool. So I will say, and again, I know we're not seeing a lot of spooky monsters in this one yet, but now having watched it, and it's funny that they call out Nixon too. I did a project in high school all about, and again, this is one of those things that I've always been fascinated by. It's one of my little pet interests, right? Everyone has their like little media interest or pet interest. One of mine has always been how things look, how they're perceived by other people, and people's reaction to them, right? Like, that's why episodes of Food Theory about like our visuals affect how we taste, and like those are some of my favorites, because it just exposes the weird like biases that human beings have just based on the way our bodies work and how nature works. But you look back and look at the Nixon debates versus Kennedy, I think it was, back in the day, right? And there's all these studies done about how Nixon was so, like, they talk about how James Dean, you couldn't hear him, but he looked pretty and people liked him. And you look at the history of the Nixon-Kennedy debates, and it's the same thing. Like that's not a historical parody or anything. That's true. Where, you know, Nixon was in a dark suit and he was sweating a bunch, and again, this was really one of the first presidential elections that was decided by television. Because up to that point, it had all been audio, that technology wasn't widely available. But here, all of a sudden, people were able to see their candidates being broadcast live into their homes. And the much more visually appealing, cool, confident Kennedy, because he looked younger and whatever, was able to really, like, sweep Nixon under the rug as, like, older, more tired looking, sweaty. He was not as, like, camera friendly as Kennedy. And so, like, it's one of those things. And those debates really ultimately decided a large portion of the, the voters in that moment, right? Like,
yeah, and then there was, like, depending on which medium you listened to or watched the debate, it determined who you thought won.
Won the debate, yes.
So Nixon sounded better on the radio.
Yep.
But people who watched the broadcast, which a lot of people did, because it was like the first time a presidential debate was getting a big broadcast, were in favor of Kennedy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's also one of those weird things that I'm interested in.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I, that's one of my, like, little pet interests. And so I did a whole, like, research paper about this and, submitted it to, like, National History Day back in the day. But yeah, and again, like, I think that sort of stuff is fascinating, right? Because, like Ash said, depending on the medium that you consume, the exact same event you walked away with two very different contexts. So, for this series to talk about, like, oh yeah, President Dean, you couldn't hear him talk the entire time, but man, was he pretty, and it boosted his approval rate. Not surprised. Like, I could see that being an absolutely true thing that existed. So, anyway, that is DEANDEMOCRACY. That was fun. Not real monstery, and I'm curious how it fits into the overall lore of the series. It tells us immediately that we're in an alternate universe, rather than like, oh, this is set in the real world of us. So that's good to know. But I'm curious how it fits into the overall structure of things. But a lot of interesting ideas in there for sure. LINCOLNLOOKER. I'm assuming, I would guess, this is what? Lincoln Monument coming to life. The classic, right? Like, you see that. I feel like I see that happen a lot in media. Even though, when has that happened? I can't think of a media project where, like, Lincoln has come, like, a statue of Lincoln has come to life.
Night at the Museum.
Good one. Yeah, that's it. I'm like, I know I've seen this, and I feel like I see it a lot, but I'm drawing a blank on who. Night at the Museum's one, though, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a
I was a
looker
Lincoln
of a
Looker
Lincoln.
for 2 weeks. It was terrifying. One moment you're at home answering the door, and the next you're stuck in some kind of suit.
What?
The smell was awful in there, and the metal seat was so cold.
What? What? I was a Lincoln Looker.
The only thing you can do is look through 2 little holes. It was some kind of mask, and whenever the sun shined near, I could see the inside of it.
So, sorry, right? Again, just trying to figure this out in real time, and I'm sure it'll explain itself, but people are being trapped inside the Lincoln Memorial, and then they're looking out of it like a FNAF animatronic suit. They're just like, I'm inside and it's cold and the seat is cold. It was like some kind of mask, right? Huh.
It was a familiar face. Every few nights, straws would be put through the holes and someone would feed me some weird soup.
Oh, weird soup.
For 2 weeks, they found out that they had misidentified me and I wasn't the correct Lincoln Looker. Reagan apologized to me personally, and I was released with some monetary compensation.
Reagan trickling down economics and soup through weird soup through straws into the eye holes of the Lincoln Memorial so I can sip it. Great.
They don't care if I talk about it or not. No one would take me seriously.
I believe that.
Lincoln looking is just too absurd.
Mask. This reminds me of the Leprechaun video. Have you ever seen the Leprechaun video?
The Leprechaun video?
Uh-huh, here. Sorry, real quick. This is a very brief digression, but this is an all-time favorite. Oh man, Food Theory going down the spiral of madness. I appreciate that. Leprechaun, there you go. Leprechaun in Alabama. Okay.
Well, just in time for...
Yeah, where is it?
even camera phones to take pictures. To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else in the leprechaun say yeah?
Anyway, so it's a real news story about leprechauns.
Oh my gosh, is that the picture?
And then there's an amateur sketch, which is of the leprechaun.
I love the amateur sketch. I forgot about that. How could I ever forget about that?
Oh, it's so good. This is one of the. I mean, this is early internet days. It's one of my all-time favorite viral videos. Okay, so this is the mask. It's Abraham Lincoln's face. So I'm so intrigued. Where are we going with this?
There's always that someone that we dislike more than everyone else. Not usually famous or important, but they've done something that's affected this person.
Oh no, a lot of famous
Often
people.
you're the only person who remembers this act. And I've been that bad, but memory hurts. Everyone experiences this, and the president is no exception.
Okay.
Except he can do something about it. Every president can choose one person to be a Lincoln-looker. After the alibi is fabricated, the person is abducted from their home, and they stay a Lincoln-looker for as long as the president sits in office.
What?
Nobody can question his decision, and there's no trial. You might be surprised, but it's nothing new. It's been a tradition. Lincoln-lookers have been around for a very long time.
What? That's crazy. That is so strange. So each president gets to choose one Lincoln looker. So what, they're putting them like the Lincoln Memorial. Again, I'm still convinced people are being put into the Lincoln Memorial to watch the random tourists from the Midwest being like, oh, there's our great nation's founding father picture. Let me do some photos with him. Oh, look at these teeny. I'm going to squish him in my hands. But she said she was determined not to be the correct one, right? She said...
They took the wrong person.
Yeah, they took the wrong person. Due to rumors that Lincoln lookers were imprisoned behind presidential portraits, White House officials publicly removed and reinstalled the portraits to demonstrate that no space existed to hold Lincoln lookers. Imprisoned behind portraits. Wall. I like that. We swear to you, this is the wall. Portrait 2. Wall. Oh yeah? Well, I call foul on that one. Watch what happens. Look, you just put that wall back there as you were getting ready to remove it. See? That 1 pixel line above shows me that you're not just removing this, you're adding assets. I call foul, Reagan. You and your photoshopping of history. I've watched and given enough notes on videos to see that sort of thing at 2 times speed. Can't fool these eyes.
Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call.
Hey Eunice, it's Howard. I don't know what I just saw. I was at the top of the steps, reading the inscriptions and talking to visitors, when I started to hear a faint scratching sound. I didn't think much of it at first, but when I got close to the chair, I realized that the scratching was coming from inside the marble. So I went to a guard and asked whether she could do anything about animals that could be trapped in there. She told me not to worry about it, and that they'd take care of it once there were fewer visitors. A few minutes passed, and the scratching became much louder. I went back to the guard and asked what kind of animals usually got stuck in there, and she said, wild animals. The sound started to make visitors anxious. I remember one boy pulling so hard at his mother's hand, begging to leave.
That wasn't because of the sound. That was because he was at the Lincoln Memorial for a prolonged period of time. Spoiler. It's a statue, cool.
Isn't the Lincoln Memorial where they accidentally, they messed up the carving of the
I don't
words?
know.
There's it's not like a typo because they didn't type onto the wall.
Sure, right.
Because that'd be pretty wacky.
It's an echo.
An echo.
An echo.
A carvo.
Uh-oh, etchy.
Uh-oh, etchy. Yeah, like a little carvo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carvo! But, once you've seen the statue, once you've seen the echo, you're done. The carvo.
The
You're
carvo.
all right. The kid's like, leave. I'm anxious because of the scratching in the... No, it's because he wants to go play Pokemon or like watch Paw Patrol or something, man. It's like, okay, great. The president's cool and all, but let's move on. Let's go check out the giant obelisk. At least that's exciting and tall.
A blind girl with one of those canes went up to the chair and pressed her head against it to listen. Then she started crying.
Maybe she was moved by the power of our great nation.
Tried to pull her away, but she just began to hit the chair with her cane. That's when the guards asked everyone to go back down the steps. I don't know why, and it's going to sound crazy, but I felt compelled to help.
Small child? Sure.
So I went to the blind girl and joined her in hitting the marble. The guards tried to pin us down, but the scratching became too loud for even them.
I gotta say, and again, I'm not trying to be difficult here, but I think these are the observations that go through my head. Scratching of marble? Marble is very smooth. So the idea of being able to scratch in the marble, like you need some mighty claws in order to scratch that marble.
They probably haven't been able to trim
Clip their
fingernails.
The Lincoln looking. Yeah, it's true.
It sounded like someone was shaving down a chalkboard. Eventually, the marble began to crack.
Wow!
And a few more hits caused the crevice to expand all the way to the top of the chair.
They were effective!
There was a sudden
this is not very strong
burst of
marble.
Damage, and the head suddenly turned toward us. I was afraid it would fall, so I picked the girl up and went down a few steps. The head slowly rotated back into place, and when it started to be pushed upwards, I took out my camera.
Oh, here we go.
It was no wild animal.
Person? Howard Melrose recorded the following images. Wait. I love that every time an object moves in this series, just by the way, that it just like transposes over a little bit. Just a little slide. Is it a tentacle? It's not a human head. All right, so I think we got time for one more. I know DEANDEMOCRACY was long, and that last one was about like 5 minutes or so. So Washington Wormhole.
Yeah.
Is this Washington Monument? Is the obelisk going to disappear into a wormhole? The special tree.
The forest fell swiftly as the lumberjack swung, except for the special tree, which could not be stung. She missed her friends and the hymns they sung, so she started a tune that broke the man's lung.
Broke his lung? He popped it? Her singing broke his lung. Hey, timeline! I love it when a series gives me an actual timeline to look at. It does my job for me. Appreciate it. Thank you. 1840. First photograph of the special tree. The special tree. So, special tree. 48. They're building a monument around it. So all of this is them like building monuments over this plant? Special plant tree? (1861 to 1865). Didn't make a whole lot of progress during those years. Construction halts. Oh, Civil War. That makes sense. It's gonna be like, man, way to slow down there, friendos. Prisoners of war are seen being led into the unfinished tower. So it's like a man-eating tree. So the Lincoln Looker is just watching the tree? I'm still confused about Lincoln Looker. I'm confused about. I'm curious about how that fits. Construction's complete. It has nothing to do with ripping off Egyptian architecture. It has everything to do with hiding the mysterious tree. Visit the Washington Monument and listen closely. Hear the music within its walls. Washington Monument becomes a major tourist attraction.
I love 10 cents per head. I love that.
What a deal. A real steal there. 1910 to 1971. People disappear. 20 individuals disappear while visiting the Washington Monument. That's not many. Only 20. I feel like more kids probably get lost. The Washington absentees. Also, that's not a bad rate. 61 years. You're only losing 20. Washington Standard Operation. Classified film titled Washington Standard Operation is leaked by news agencies. Okay. I would like to watch that. Oh, and my wish is granted. Yes. Okay, I'm in a different story. Awesome. It would be awesome if you could actually enter the Washington Monument this way. It's just like a mysterious sliding door. Ooh. Ride the bucket all the way to the top. Hoisting cable. Wait, can you climb the Washington Monument? Can you get into it? I haven't. I don't. Can you?
No.
Wait, in Spider-Man Homecoming. In Spider-Man Homecoming, the rescue happens in the Washington Monument, isn't it?
Can you?
Like on one hand, I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to. Hold up. Can you climb the Washington? I'm curious now.
Yeah, you can climb.
Can you?
To the top of the obelisk.
Because I've never done it. I visited Washington once, years and years and years and years and years ago in middle school, and we didn't do a whole lot during that trip outside of, jump around in our hotel room because it was like, woo, we're teenagers in a hotel room. This is crazy. That's it. I know we saw the Washington Monument from a distance, but we never went in it. But yeah, in Spider-Man Homecoming, he climbs the Washington Monument. There's like the elevator. They get stuck. Yeah, so you can go in. Huh. Or you could just ride the bucket, I guess. That's cool to know. Okay, let's hop back to it. This will be a fun ride. Woo! Sound waves. Hello! Okay, so drop the person. So it's literally like an evil drop ride. That's the standard. So the standard operating procedure is, okay, individual victim of what we're about to do, go in, ride that suspicious looking bucket. Ignore the latch on the side. That's not important. It's fine. It's fine. It's not going to go out. I swear to you. And now you're going to ride up and then boo! And then I like that the next person is already lined up as the dead body is still laying there too, as if it's like, oh, what would happen to that person? Well, that's laying underneath this suspicious bucket. I'm gonna hop in. Why not? 2000. The infection is nigh. The music of Washington will end. The music of Washington. So the music inside. What? So it's a tree that eats people and also plays music?
Sound waves.
Yeah. Bop it. Please let the top slide. Just like everything's sliding in this series. Oh no! Someone broke the Washington Monument. Spider-Man. The tree? Reaching out? Wait.
What?
There's another Washington Monument? Like alternate universe Washington? What? What? Oh, that was incredible. Oh no! It's alive! It's alive! Oh my gosh, that's so funny. There's so much lightning and electricity. Oh, this is fun. All 19 Washington Day absentees are found unconscious. I thought there were 20.
I also thought there were 20.
Nope, all 19 apparently are found unconscious at the base of the monument. And very old.
What happened to the last one?
What happened to the last one? Get out of here. There be cover-ups. I call cover-ups. 20. Look, I was paying attention. I knew there was a test at the end of this thing and I was paying attention. Something is amiss, friendos. Oh, this is going in some wacky directions. This was the first one. The first time that we did Monument Mythos, like, okay, I get it. It's an ARG, or not an ARG. It's analog horror. It's fine. It's playing off of kind of those tropes, but it's fun because it's Monument. Now it has just gone off the rails between James Dean, the president, and the Lincoln Lookers, which I still have really no idea what to make of. They're like imprisoned in the statues, but also they're part of the tree down there. I guess the tree's there. It's being fed to the tree, maybe?
I wonder who James Dean wanted revenge on.
Oh, that's right. James Dean could have picked someone.
James Dean could have picked a Lincoln Looker.
Oh, man. I wonder who his looker was.
Ooh.
And he was a looker. Tell you what, that James Dean. Oh, my God. I know. And then, I'm so sorry. And then Washington Monument be like, woo, I'm all floppy now. And look at all the lightning that summons around me. I am so excited. This has gone to crazy places. I am so excited to finish this off. I guess season 1 off. Finish season 1 off next time. Well, geez, there's a couple long ones in here, so maybe we'll speed through those or something. Oh, this is wacky. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know where it's going. This is so funny. I also like that they've stayed in character for this footage from the 2003 event may trigger seizures. I mean, it's a good way to. I like that they're staying in character with all this. 20th Washington absentee. Oh, the 20th Washington absentee has been identified. Suspicious. Cool. This is great. So anyway, that, my friends, is part 2 of our reactions to Monument Mythos. Like I said, we'll see where it's going next time. I am very excited about this. I don't know if there's theory material in here. If they don't solve everything, yeah, sure. But obviously we're behind. We're only through season 1, or getting caught up on season 1, and there's at least season 2, if not more. But just a blast. So go watch through it. Support this channel. It's delightful. So let me know your theories down in the comments below. And as always, remember, it wasn't a live stream, but it was a video for you. See ya!